And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Culp. I'm your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It's Monday. It's August 11th. It's 2025. Hope you had a great weekend as we start the week. In case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. We do the markets. Oh, and we do the markets. We do the economy. We do your job, your industry. Scams, shams, corruption. Insider trading, marijuana. What? Yeah, we're going to talk marijuana today and much more. And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on all the podcast apps as well as Biz TV, YouTube. And if you'd like to email us, just be nice. Just be nice. So just letting you know, by the way, travel hell this weekend. Yesterday, you know what? At least JetBlue at 9 a.m. emailed me to tell me my flight's going to be late at 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. They knew at 9 a.m. Don't ask me how. And of course, the hour turned into 2 hours, turned into 2.5. It's not their fault. Weather up and down the East Coast, not good. On the way there, not good either. But such is life. Welcome to the world of summertime in Florida with the thunderstorms. But the most important part of the equation got there safe. And that's all that really matters, right? If you think about it, you're up 35,000 feet in a chair in a Tylenol pill. And you're moving, but you don't know you're moving through the air. Think about that. That's killer. So be happy when you get there, even though sometimes you're very, very late. Okay, my father. It's not the ninth inning. It's extra innings. As you know, a couple of months back, I thought it was over and done. He was in the hospital with pneumonia. The rabbi came in. The doctor gave me the look. The next day, the pneumonia goes away, and they sent him home the day after. And he's been pretty good, but deteriorating. It's going to be 94 in October, and you just can't fight the inevitable. But we brought Reese, my grandson, over, and he was very happy. But it's just, I must tell you, and I've been getting hundreds of emails from all of you about all this, that you've gone through the same thing. By the way, my mom, last Thanksgiving, at the age of 91, and my brother, I tried to explain to him, Hulk Hogan died at 71, this one died at 74, this one died at 78, and he doesn't care. I said he's going to be 94. He's way past. My brother doesn't want to hear it. Family, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I can tell you. When I was there, I was looking through these little books of pictures, black and white pictures from 1940s or 50s. Something like that. My father tried out for the Yankees, didn't make it, but almost did. Great athlete. Hate seeing him like this. Not easy. Not easy. So already got the flights back this week. I'm in Florida till Thursday, fly back Thursday, and, every time my brother calls me, I'm like, uh-oh. And I hate seeing him like this, my father. I hate seeing him like this. But we're doing the best we can. We'll keep you up to date, and we appreciate all your well wishes and all your experiences. It really helps out to hear what you all have gone through because of age. All right. Let's get away from that, right? I want to get neck deep into one word. Concentration. Neck deep. As we have stated to you, every now and then we will simplify life in general for you. And what do we mean by that? Imagine if there was only 100 stocks in the market, and each were equal to the next. Not one more favorable to another in whatever index they are in. The market index. and assume we know what uptrends and downtrends are, and assume 100 stocks are in an uptrend, but then 25 of them flatten out. Well, you still have 75 in an uptrend, but it's narrower. And the 25 flattened out's not hurting anything. What happens if that 25 that flatten out start turning down and another 25 flatten out? Well, the market's a little more difficult. The index is not going to move the way it was. The trajectory is going to change from somewhat ascending to a little flattening out. And then what happens if 50 stocks are descending and the 50 that were ascending flatten out? Well, now you have 50 going down. Well, guess what? The market index is going to turn and the market's going to drop. It's simple as that. And you're assuming we know what an uptrend and downtrend look like. Well, that's how markets top, stock by stock, sector by sector. But in this market, it's a lot different. Mucho differenti, whatever, how you pronounce it. We have never seen such concentration, ever. We've had the Nifty 50 in the 70s. We had 1999, where the internet and the technology. We've had many times where we had concentration, but we've never had 7 stocks. When you think about this, the main things people watch are the Dow, which is 30, but really the S&P 500. Every time I see somebody quote the market, they go more to the S&P 500 than the Dow these days. 7 stocks are almost 35% when that index moves. 493 stocks are 65%. Think about that. That is what is known as concentration and influence. And you know what the 7 stocks are. Those same 7 stocks are 65% of the NASDAQ 100, but we think it is more concentrated with the S&P because of how many stocks there are. And the bottom stock in the S&P 500 is like 0.06%. And there's a lot of them there. It tells you that institutions have been selling off everything to buy in the few. And I'm being a little bit hyperbolic because it's not that bad when I say it, because there's still stocks. Hey, Goldman Sachs is near high. That's not top 10. That's not top 7. You get my point. There are other things working. We're just letting you know we have never seen such a concentration in the big indices. And we want you to remember that. And why? Not because, it's these 7. It's because it's a characteristic that has shown up in quite the few occasions throughout history. And what we are about here are characteristics of bull and bear markets, what they look like, how they act, how they bottom, how they top, how they ascend, how they descend. And as you know, we follow pretty much 1,500 stocks every day, 200 sectors, every country, every commodity. And it still ain't easy. So that big characteristic is a big, juicy matzo ball right now that could have repercussions. Maybe it won't. And what we're going to do is give you both sides of it. What's the possibilities of it turning into much better? What are the possibilities of an moment? We'll go backwards. We'll explain. At the very least, we will continue to avoid the bad areas. We've mentioned recently how the transports were getting in bad shape. Insurance, auto dealers, the payroll companies, as well as other areas. Some Dow stocks, like Merck, a horror show. Some apparel like Holy crap, Under Armour. What did they do to that stock? While telling you this is still leading, this is lagging. This is busting down to the downside off of earnings. This is gapping up to the upside because of earnings. Up next, we'll get into it a little bit more. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Thanks for being with us today. So, we're just letting you know. That's all. We're just letting you know. Same thing I believe we said to you on Friday and maybe the days previous. If, just an if nothing changes. And as you know, things can change. What do I mean by that? Well, we're whining and complaining to you how the breadth of the market, the advanced declines, is terrible. Terrible. We have been telling you how the NASDAQ new yearly highs, the advanced decline line topped out a year ago. And in the last 2 to 3 weeks, has just been blasted. And that is how many stocks are advancing versus declining. And what does that do? Well, the more stocks decline, the more charts get in worse shape. That's all. So we're just letting you know, if nothing changes, if the bad stays bad, if they worsen, which is even worse, there has always been 100% of the time an eventuality. If things worsen, if the weak stocks, I'll give you one, IBM. The stock just got hit hard on earnings and it's now getting blasted. If that continues down, it's just one stock, but what if we continue to see days where 1,200 up, 2,800 down? Where new yearly lows are more than new yearly highs, even though the big indices are near yearly highs. Typically, eventuality is they come and get the stuff that's held up because it's the stuff that's held up. And institutions, in their need to sell more, will tend to go after the stocks that are sticking up. And in this case, where 7 stocks are 60, almost 65 of the NASDAQ 100, almost 35 of the S&P, that means they own a crapload of these stocks. What do we tell you the words? Over-owned, over-loved, over-leveraged. And when the worm turns, what do they over-own and what do they need to lop some off of? You got it, them. And if they do, what does that mean to the indices that have held up so well because of those same names? Correctamundo. The indices start coming in. So we're just letting you know, first off, the characteristics are there. That's just number one. The characteristics are there. But number two, there could be lead time. What do we mean by that? It could take weeks, if not more. We've seen that. We've seen the Nifty 50 roll on for a while. We've seen big indices keep going for a long while. They're not pinpoint. We're just letting you know to put in your file manager right now that your handsome and buffed host is giving you that concentration and influence warning shot if nothing changes. And of course, we're here 5 days a week because if something does change, we'll let you know. It's our favorite line. We'll let you know. But today It just, things kind of drifted, worsened throughout the day. For whatever. Now, I hear there's some inflation numbers this week. Okay. Which has me pondering. Explain that in a minute. We're just letting you know the tone of the market here. And by the way, the NASDAQ, which came in later in the day, NASDAQ 100 came in later in the day, still kind of like the rocks of Gibraltar. Still. So the Dow was down 200, weak. Caterpillar, we even said to you that looked like Caterpillar top breaking the 21-day. And we've also, as the stock was moving higher, what were we complaining about? How is Caterpillar stock going up with the last 2 quarters earnings down over 20%? And they were down the prior 2 quarters. And what do we always say? Well, we don't make the rules. Salesforce.com, a nightmarish big software stock. New yearly lows for Salesforce.com, which is quite amazing, but guess what? They have decelerating numbers. IBM, another rough day, down 6. Apple pulled back, that's normal, down 2 after going straight up off of tariff exemptions. S&P down 16, so not so bad. That's because the NASDAQ 100, still down 64 and 84. And I will tell you, they were up most of the day until the 3 o'clock hour. But you can just tell that's where the money's still hanging. Tesla was up 8, Oracle was up 3. The others were down, but NVIDIA down 70 cents, Meta down 3. It's a $765 stock. Google down 50 cents. Broadcom down 80 cents. For a down 200 Dow, that's a tiptoe through the tulips. We'll see if that continues. Now, of interest, those transports just stinking up the joint. And it's something we're going to watch closely. The transport's stinking up the joint. My left screen, which is the NASDAQ, more than NASDAQ, technology names that do not make the grade or gap down or broke down and not in shape, mostly red, with some just kicked in the teeth. You've heard of Intuit, right? Software, down 42. HubSpot, 29. Software. I'm noticing Workday down 8. Software. Duolingo down 29. Software. A lot of software stocks acting like the south end of a northbound jackass. I'm going to highlight those software stocks tonight to the peeps because that's going to be of note. They already got the software security stocks last week. CrowdStrike, Zscaler, Palo Alto Networks. So we are very wary of software, and it kind of matters. If you look at the IGV, maybe topping out. Again, narrow as all heck. Up next, what else? And are we going to whine about anything today? Of course we are. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Marijuana stocks were strong. The president, Donald Trump, looks like he's going to reclassify the drug to be as not so bad. That pisses me off. And I am in hopes his family has not taken positions in marijuana stuff. Because if they have, that'll doubly piss me off. Anyway, there's a symbol called MJ. It's an exchange-traded fund, and that was up 27% today to $30.89. Keep in mind, these marijuana stocks have gone from whatever down to like nothing, but had a big day today. How about, let me see if I can find ones I want to go through. ACB That's Aurora Cannabis, was up 16% today to $5.20. That hit a high of $1,500. No, not kidding. How about CGC, Canopy Growth? That was up 53% today. Am I right? Yeah. Went to $1.58, up 55 cents. Ready for this? Because remember, they touted you. It hit a high in 21. That's 2021 at $565. It's $1.58 today. But a very strong move in the Canadian marijuana stocks up. It pisses me off. You got this guy, Kennedy, that's telling you everything's bad, and vaccines are bad, and this is bad, and that is bad, and this is bad, and don't touch that, and coloring of food, and this in food, and that in food, and this in food, and that in food, and this in food. Don't do this, don't do that. Oh, let's reclassify marijuana as not so bad. Notice, Mr. Logic, me, is able to explain to you why this is so moronic and stupid. Have you been watching this Kennedy guy? His Department of Health and Human Services, everything's bad for you. Just letting you know. And everybody's screwing you. The food companies are screwing you. The drug companies are screwing you. The vaccine companies are screwing you. Everyone is screwing you. They're out to get you. They want to make you less healthy. They want you to eat more crap. Smoke some weed. You see? Notice how easily I can explain other people's stupidity and ignorance. You know, when we tell you Al Gore is telling us we got to be smart about climate change as he gets in his private jet. And he's worth $300 million creating all kinds of climate companies that don't do crap for nobody. Al Gore. Or Leo, DiCaprio. By the way, good actor. No complaints, nothing personal. Gotta be careful about the climate. Take care of the climate. Yes, take care of the climate. Conserve. You should be driving an electric vehicle, not a gas guzzler. As he gets on his private jet, and we see him on a 200-foot yacht in the waters of Monaco. You know what we say to these people? Up yours. Go screw. And we would tell it to their faces. So now we have the president and Robert F. Kennedy and all that. Marijuana good. Everything else is bad. And it pisses me off. Just letting you know. Do you know why I say that? Because I know a lot of people, well, not a lot, but enough, that abuse marijuana and have turned to dust. Bought a lot of Doritos and macaroni and cheese, by the way, not me. I'm not talking about me. We move on. What doesn't piss me off about the president today, I love, absolutely love his words on Washington, D.C., that he wants to put more people in there, and who cares whether they're the National Guard or not, to protect the citizens, the lawful citizens. While if you're carjacking, you're no longer going to have the no cash bail bullcrap, but you're going and we're going to hold you and we're going to indict you. And if your peers find you guilty, you're going to do 15 to 20 and maybe you'll get out in 10. And that maybe will incentivize other crooks to not do it anymore. So I immediately, while he's having his press conference today, turn on MSNBC. And they're complaining about it. Really? Do you know the last time I was in D.C.? This is a few years back. I ran away from a few people. Because they started doing the little run after me. And the good news is, when I turned the corner, I got into a building, cops were sitting in the building. That was the end of that. They never showed up. And I don't know if that doesn't represent all of D.C., right? But that's what happened. And do you know in D.C., they put out flyers to tell you how to prevent carjacking. Do you know what was in the flyers? Get out of your car and run away. Yet Trump wants to do something about it, and the mayor of D.C. is arguing with him? You're arguing with him about want to protect the citizens? We're a bunch of clowns. So good on him. I don't mind that. The people running D.C. have created the nightmare. It's going on in other cities. And it's about time we get tough. You're 15 years old and you shoot somebody? No more tried as a young kid. You're now an adult. You carjack somebody and take your gun and hit him in the head? No longer you're a kid. You're an adult. That's all. It's pretty simplistic. And you know what you do? You blast that on TV. You put posters on every stupid street corner where these young kids think they can destroy people's life, hang out. And you put a poster up saying, you want a carjack? This is where you're going to land for 20. That's all. It's pretty simple. So good on Trump. Notice, bad Trump, good Trump. Typical day, right? He meets with Russia. On MSNBC, they're complaining about him meeting with Russia. He's being played. He's this, he's that. He hasn't even met with the guy yet. And last I looked, the Yutz who was running for president for 4 years was in a coma as he was watching this going on. At least President Trump is trying, and maybe nothing comes from his meeting with Putin this week. Maybe nothing. At least he's trying. At least he's trying. Because a lot of Russians and a lot of Ukrainians are dying. So, by the way, you cannot watch MSNBC for 30 minutes without them telling you are racist. And you can't spend 1 minute on there without them telling you Trump is the Antichrist and Hitler. I don't know anybody who watches that. Did you know you're all racist? White supremacists, all of you? Just letting you know. I dare you to turn on MSNBC for 5 minutes. They bring these people on that just say anything. They set the headline and then try to fit in a story into the headlines. Anyway, that's my whining and complaining of the day. But I think it was all pretty important. I don't own any marijuana stocks. And probably if they go up, you may want to buy Doritos and macaroni and cheese futures and anything else that provides for the munchies. Didn't that make sense, by the way? Didn't that make sense? Anyway, that's the thought process on a lot of things. As we segue back on Mr. Markets. Happily, a much quieter week this week for earnings. The last 2 weeks were the biggest as far as numbers. This week, I only have 2.5 pages of earnings this week. And a Cisco in the Dow. Applied Materials. Not much more that I care about. Up next, this, that, and the other thing, as we always do. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I gotta tell you the other part of the equation here. I think I mentioned it, but I'm gonna be a little bit more noisy with it. So we are right at the highs of the NASDAQ 100, the S&P. We're going through an earnings season right now, and what I do, I'm very legal pad-ish. I love legal pads. I don't like sending myself emails. I like hard copy. So everyday earnings, what I'll do is I take out a legal pad, I draw a line down the middle, and I start writing the biggest gaps to the upside on the left side, and I move it towards the middle based on how much they gap up. And if things are flat, they stay in the middle. And then to the right side, I start with the small gaps, and all the way to the right on the sheet of paper are the big gaps. And what I'll do is I'll save them for the whole earning season. And I'll go backwards. I have to tell you something. There has been there's the usual amount, if not more, of stocks that have gapped up to the upside. That is, the stock closed at 100, opens up at 120 because they beat Wall Street estimates by 35 cents. Earnings are accelerating. Things are great. Recent ones have been Oracle, Microsoft, Reddit, Meta just recently, and others. There's been a good amount. No argument there. But I have to tell you, there has been an inordinate amount of blow-ups. That's stocks that were at 120 yesterday and open up at 100, if not worse. I've seen some, and I'm not talking about biotechs with no sales. I've seen stocks blow up 30 and 40%. Trade Desk, not an unknown name in my world, closed at 88, opened at 54. That's an extreme example. But there's been a bunch. And I'm not talking Snapchat, that is just a terrible stock, that closed at 9.39 and opened like at 7.5. And they don't get anything right. I'm talking some important names that have blown up. And what do we do with those names, just so you know? If they're on my front screen as being strong and they blow up from the highs, they get moved to a different part of the screen. And if they keep going lower, they go into another screen. That's that left screen I talk about. If they hold support and try to turn, which maybe Netflix is trying to do, by the way, after gapping to the downside, we're aware. But we're just letting you know. Our list of blow-ups feels like we're in a bear market already. You know, a lot of blow-ups happen in bad markets, not good. And maybe that has to do with back where we started on this show. Concentration. There's been such a concentrated market out there. We'll keep you up to date. But I'm just letting you know, IBM gaps down, opens up at about 255, it's 236, following down. Catching the drift? We stay on top of that. Are they gapping down and following? And then you got things, get this one, Duolingo. You know what they do, right? It's software for translation. You know, you can learn Italian and Spanish, which, by the way, I'm still procrastinating. I want to start Italian because I go to Italy all the time. Duolingo closes at 343, opens at 468. 3 days ago. It closes at 395, and it's back down to 340. So if you bought that gap, you are getting cooked. I'm seeing some of that too. You gap it up and boom. HubSpot, they gap that up to 522 from a close of 492, up 30. 492 had it closing at 461. Excuse me, 522 had it closing at 461. So just letting you know. And what do? We avoid the bad. How about Monday.com, another software name, closed down $74 to 174 today. Down 30%. Just keep it in the file manager. Hey, I also want to mention one other thing. When you have a chance, show your sons and daughters Tommy Fleetwood, who was very close again to winning his first PGA tournament. Go and do a press conference and go watch what he said. This is what is known as a great sportsman and a man's man that has been, I wouldn't call coming second or third place in a PGA tournament failing, but when you want to win your first in PGA, he's won on Europe so badly, and you really gave one up a few weeks back, and you had the big chance yesterday, and he comes out and congratulates the winner and turned failure into success in 3 minutes. Everybody is rooting for this man right now, not as a golfer, but as a man. Show your sons and daughters, have them learn a lesson about sportsmanship, and baseball games have 9 innings, meaning you may fail first time, second time, third time. Well, there's a fourth. And of course, you learn from your fails. Don't repeat the same thing over and over again if it's not working. That's should be simple logic, you would think. Anyway, go check that out. I was in Dubai at the top of a building at the Nobu Hotel, and he was sitting right behind me. I didn't want to say anything. He was, I think, celebrating his birthday. Hopefully I'll meet him one day. You have a great evening. Drive carefully when you get home. Do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better, I promise. Hug your dad, too. Until tomorrow, peace out all. Thanks for joining. Serenity now. Good night.